2026 is officially the year small-town America strikes back. While the massive coastal festivals are struggling to sell tickets and staying quiet, a different kind of movement is rising from the heartland, and the lineup is enough to make any patriot lose their mind. We're talking about the massive return of Rock the Country, and this isn't just a concert tour. It's being framed as a full-blown takeover for America's 250th anniversary. With heavy hitters like Kid Rock and Blake Shelton leading the charge, the buzz is reaching a fever pitch. But beneath the surface of the official announcement, there are some wild stories and controversial moves that have fans talking and critics sounding the alarm. The strategy behind this tour is bold, frankly a bit risky. They're targeting 8 small towns that usually get ignored by the big corporate tours. We're talking about places like Belleville, Texas, and Hastings, Michigan, towns that are about to be flooded with tens of thousands of people. It's a logistical gamble that some locals are calling a recipe for total chaos. Imagine a tiny community suddenly hosting a population 10 times its size in a single weekend. While some see it as the ultimate celebration of the underserved, others are worried about the small-town takeover turning into a nightmare of traffic and overstretched resources. Organizers are trying to calm the nerves by pouring millions into guest comfort, like massive cooling zones and high-end production. But the real draw is the rotating lineup. No 2 weekends are the same, which means if you want the full experience, you might have to hit the road and follow the tour across the country. Kid Rock is the undisputed face of this entire movement, and as we've seen lately, he's not holding back one bit. He's already calling this the party of the year for what he describes as God-fearing patriots. Lately, Kid Rock has been a total lightning rod for controversy, making waves on news reports with his unfiltered takes on the state of the country and his very public stance on the denial of American values. His presence alone turns these shows into something that feels more like a political rally than a standard rock concert. Rumors suggest he's planning his most explosive stage show yet to celebrate the nation's sesquicentennial. And given his history of sparking heated debates and pulling no punches, everyone is waiting to see what he'll actually say when the mic is live. There's a sense that he's using this tour as a platform for a much larger message, and for his fans, that's exactly what they're paying to see. Then there's Blake Shelton, who's stepping into this tour while a massive storm of personal rumors follows him everywhere he goes. For months now, the internet has been spiraling with speculation about a potential split from Gwen Stefani. People have been picking apart every single social media post, claiming they're living separate lives or moving toward a permanent breakup. Just recently, the noise got so loud that Blake finally had to break his silence, calling the reports a bunch of fabricated nonsense. He exposed how easy it is for fake photos and split rumors to go viral, yet the gossip won't die down. While he claims they're stronger than ever, fans are going to be watching his every move on this tour, looking for any signs of the shocking truth behind the scenes. Every time he takes the stage, the question on everyone's mind isn't just about the music, but about what's happening when the lights go down and he heads back to the trailer. If you thought the most hated band of the 90s was gone for good, you were wrong. The Creed resurrection is one of the weirdest and most successful stories in music right now. After years of being the ultimate punchline, they've somehow become the must-see act of the decade. But there's a catch with this tour that's already starting to frustrate some fans. They aren't playing the whole tour. In a move that's been described as strategic gatekeeping, they've been confirmed for a very specific slot in Anderson, South Carolina, alongside Shinedown. This exclusive booking strategy is driving ticket prices through the roof in certain cities, leaving fans in other states feeling like they've been left in the dust. It creates a fear of missing out that is driving record-breaking searches, but it's also leaving a bitter taste for those who can't travel across state lines just to see Scott Stapp take the stage. The tour is also leaning into some odd pairings that shouldn't work on paper, but somehow they do. We're seeing country legends like Brooks and Dunn sharing the stage with 2000s rap icons like Ludacris and Nelly. It's a total genre clash designed to pull in every generation, but it's also raising eyebrows about the festival's actual identity. Is it a country show, a rock fest, or just a massive nostalgia trip designed to maximize profits? To top it off, they're introducing something called the Front Porch Pass. This is an all-inclusive elite experience featuring Iron Chef curated meals and elevated seating. It's a move that's being called out by some as a way of gatekeeping the front row for the wealthy. It creates a weird divide in a festival that claims to be built for the hard-working man, when the best views are reserved for those who can drop thousands on a VIP ticket. As the January 16th ticket launch approaches, the hype is reaching levels we haven't seen in years. With layaway plans starting as just $2.50, they're making sure nobody can say they couldn't afford to be part of the 250-year celebration. But with the political climate being as tense as it is, and the massive scale of these small-town events, one big question remains. Is this a genuine tribute to the American spirit, or is it just a clever way to bank on the Patriot brand? Between the Kid Rock manifestos, the Blake Shelton relationship drama, and the high-priced VIP front porch, 2026 is shaping up to be the loudest and most controversial year in music history. Whether you're there for the country legends or the rock reunions, one thing is certain. Everyone will be talking about what happens in these 8 small towns long after the final note is played.
The cold open. In 2026, America is turning 250 years old, and Kid Rock has officially decided how we're going to celebrate. He just announced the return of the Rock the Country Tour, but this time he's not calling it a festival, he's calling it a movement. Now, depending on who you ask, this is either the ultimate celebration of freedom or a massive cultural flashpoint waiting to explode. Imagine the biggest names in outlaw country and early 2000s rock descending on tiny towns that the rest of the world has forgotten. We're talking about a lineup so massive it feels like a fever dream, but behind the scenes, there's a lot more going on than just loud guitars and fireworks. From statewide blacklists to some very awkward backstage reunions, the 2026 tour is already stirring up a storm before the first ticket has even been sold. Section 2. The Small Town Strategy. Most festivals fight over stadiums in Nashville or Los Angeles, but Rock the Country is doing something completely different. They're heading straight for the heartland, places like Belleville, Texas, and Hastings, Michigan. It's a genius move, really. By skipping the big cities, they're avoiding the massive overhead and bringing the party to the people who actually live this lifestyle. Kid Rock claims this is for the hard-working, God-fearing patriots who get ignored by the mainstream, but some industry insiders suggest there's a strategic reason for this flyover focus. It's about building a loyal community that doesn't just show up for the music, but for the identity. However, bringing 50,000 people into a town with one stoplight has its own set of problems, and some residents are already bracing for impact. Section 3. The genre clash and the rap factor. The 2026 lineup is a wild mix. You've got the heavy hitters like Jason Aldean and Hank Williams Jr., which everyone expected. But then things get interesting. Legends like Ludacris and Nelly are on the bill. It's a move that has some fans scratching their heads. Why are early 2000s rap icons sharing a stage with the faces of modern patriot country? Rumors suggest it's an effort to turn the festival into a massive party brand that transcends politics. But while the beer might be flowing, the internet is already buzzing with questions. Is this a genuine crossover of American culture, or are these artists just looking for the biggest paycheck of the summer? Either way, seeing Nelly perform right before a Creed reunion is definitely going to be a had-to-be-there moment. Section 4. The Louisiana Blacklist. Now here's where the drama starts to get real. For the first time since this tour has started, one major state has been completely left off the map: Louisiana. Last year's stop in Livingston Parish was described by some fans as a total shit show. Between torrential rain turning the fairgrounds into a mud pit and traffic that stayed backed up until midnight, it was a logistical nightmare. Reports suggest that the state might have been unofficially blacklisted for 2026 due to the fallout from those issues. While the festival organizers are focusing on new spots like Ocala, Florida, fans in Louisiana are feeling left in the dust. It raises a big question. As this movement grows, can these small towns actually handle the weight of Kid Rock's vision, or are more cities going to find themselves on the cutting room floor? Section 5. The hidden price of patriotism. On paper, the tickets look like a steal. They're advertising a layaway plan for just $2.50 down. It sounds like the ultimate fan-first move, especially in an economy where concert prices are roof-high. But if you look closer, the price of patriotism might be higher than it looks. Between the hidden fees and the high cost of camping spots, some fans have taken to social media to claim they feel shilled by the very people claiming to represent them. We're hearing stories from previous years about $8 fries and $15 waters. There's a fine line between a grassroots movement and a corporate cash grab. And in 2026, fans are going to be watching the concession stands just as closely as they're watching the stage. Final verdict. By the time the tour wraps up on September 12th in New York, we'll know if Rock the Country 2026 was a historic celebration or just another loud summer. It's a bold gamble that's banking on the idea that music can still unite people, or at least give them a reason to party. But with the 250th anniversary as the backdrop, the stakes have never been higher. So are you heading to the fairgrounds this summer, or are you staying far away from the chaos? The cities they forgot. If you look at the map for the 2026 Rock the Country tour, you'll notice something strange. You won't see New York City, Los Angeles, or even the country music capital of Nashville on the list. Instead, Kid Rock and Jason Aldean are betting everything on places you've probably never heard of, like Belleville, Texas, and Anderson, South Carolina. But don't let the quiet names fool you. This isn't a mistake, it's a calculated strike. While the rest of the music industry is fighting over overpriced stadiums in crowded metros, this tour is intentionally heading for the flyover states. They're looking for the fans who feel like the world has moved on without them. But as tens of thousands of people prepare to descend on towns with only 2 traffic lights, people are starting to ask, is this a tribute to the hard-working man, or is it a massive logistical time bomb waiting to go off? Section 1. The business of the borderlands. So why skip the big arenas? It comes down to a strategy called market isolation. By picking a town like Hastings, Michigan, the organizers aren't just putting on a show, they're creating the only game in town. When you're the only massive event within a 3-hour drive, you don't have to compete with other concerts or sports games. You own the weekend. Reports suggest that by choosing these fairgrounds, the organizers avoid the massive union fees and venue cuts that eat up profits in places like Chicago or Atlanta. It allows them to offer that $250 down layaway plan while still raking in millions. They're banking on the fact that if you bring the party to someone's backyard, they won't mind the extra fees, because for once, they didn't have to drive 5 hours to the city to see a superstar. Section 2. The shit show logistics. But here is where the small-town dream starts to get messy. These tiny towns aren't built for 60,000 people. Last year, rumors swirled about total chaos at several stops. We're talking about local plumbing systems that couldn't handle the crowds and 2-lane roads that turned into 12-hour parking lots. There's been a lot of chatter online about previous events where fans were stranded in the heat without enough water stations, simply because the local infrastructure couldn't keep up. For 2026, the stakes are even higher. They're celebrating America's 250th anniversary, meaning the crowds will be bigger and the party will be louder. If these towns haven't upgraded their logistics, the movement Kid Rock is talking about might just be a slow crawl out of a muddy parking lot. Section 3. The canceled refuge camp. There's a reason this tour is being called the uncancelable tour.
By staying in the deep heartland, artists like Jason Aldean and Kid Rock are playing to their safest, most loyal crowds. They aren't worried about protesters or corporate pushback in a place like Ocala, Florida. This flyover strategy creates a bubble, a place where the rules of the mainstream music industry don't apply. It's been said that these festivals feel more like a political rally than a concert, and that's exactly what the fans are paying for. They want to be in a place where they don't have to apologize for their values. But some critics are exposed on social media, claiming that this isolation is exactly what's driving the cultural divide even further. Is this about the music, or is it about drawing a line in the sand? As the tour kicks off in Belleville this May, the eyes of the music world will be on these small towns. If they pull it off, they'll prove that the heartland is the most powerful market in the country. If they don't, it could be the last time we see a tour this ambitious try to take over the backroads. One thing is for sure, in 2026, the movement is coming to a town near you, whether that town is ready for it or not. So, would you trust a festival that promises a revolution in a town with no hotels? Or is this exactly what America needs to hear?
When you think of a festival called Rock the Country, you probably picture cowboy boots, flannel shirts, and maybe a few electric guitars. You definitely don't picture the man who gave us Move Beach or the king of country grammar. But for 2026, the organizers just dropped a bombshell. Alongside Kid Rock and Jason Aldean, the lineup officially includes rap icons Ludacris and Nelly. It's a move that has sent shockwaves through the fanbase, leaving people asking one major question: what is going on? Is this a genuine attempt to bridge the gap between genres, or is it a calculated shock factor move designed to keep this tour trending? As it turns out, there is a very specific reason why these two worlds are colliding in 2026, and it has everything to do with a shifting party culture that some traditionalists are calling a betrayal of the genre. Section 1. The Dirty South Connection. On the surface, Ludacris and Hank Williams Jr. have nothing in common, but if you dig a little deeper, the connection is actually pretty simple: the Dirty South. Both country and early 2000s hip-hop share a massive overlap in the rural South. Kid Rock has been blending these worlds for decades, but bringing in Nelly and Luda as official acts is a massive escalation. Rumors suggest that the festival's data showed a huge portion of their outlaw audience grew up listening to Hot and Her just as much as they listened to Family Tradition. By booking these rappers, they aren't trying to change the genre, they're trying to own the tailgate vibe. They want to turn every stop into the world's biggest backyard barbecue. But while the organizers see a movement, some core fans are exposed on Facebook, claiming they didn't sign up for a hip-hop show. Section 2. The monetization of nostalgia. There's another reason for this Luda shock factor: the power of 2000s rap. Right now, early 2000s hip-hop is having a massive resurgence, especially with the demographic that attends these festivals. Nelly has already been testing the waters with country collaborations for years. Remember Over and Over with Tim McGraw? He's basically the gateway drug for this crossover. Industry insiders claim that booking these legacy rap acts is actually cheaper and more effective than booking a mid-tier modern country artist. You get a living legend status and a massive catalog of hits that everyone knows the words to. It's a strategy designed to keep the energy high during those long summer afternoons before the headliners take the stage. But is it worth the risk of alienating the God-fearing patriots who came specifically for the country roots? Section 3. The Backstage Drama. The genre clash isn't just happening on stage, it's happening in the unspoken rules of the festival. There's been a lot of speculation about how these artists will interact. Imagine the backstage area where you have the traditionalist Aaron Lewis on one side and Ludacris on the other. It's a cultural powder keg. Reports suggest that some of the more traditional artists on the bill weren't exactly thrilled about the genre bending. There are whispers that the scheduling is being handled very carefully to ensure the crowds don't clash too hard.
They're running a throwback happy hour to ease the transition, but if the vibe shifts too fast from friends in low places to stand up, things could get awkward fast. The conclusion: a new frontier. As we look toward 2026 kickoff, one thing is certain. Rock the Country is no longer just a country festival, it's a social experiment. They're betting that the new America doesn't care about genre labels as much as they care about the vibe. Whether you think it's a brilliant marketing masterclass or a confusing mess, you can't deny that everyone is talking about it. So, are you ready to see Ludacris in the middle of a hayfield? Or is this where you draw the line? The 250th anniversary of America might just be the year the music world finally stops pretending these genres don't belong together.
The uncancelable duo. In 2026, the music industry is more divided than ever. But if you look at the Rock the Country lineup, you'll see two names that the mainstream media has tried to off more times than we can count: Kid Rock and Jason Aldean. For years, the headlines said their careers were over. They were called names, their videos were pulled from networks, and corporate sponsors ran for the hills. But instead of fading away, they've done something that has the industry in a total panic. They've built their own economy. The 2026 tour isn't just a series of concerts, it's a victory lap for the artists who refuse to apologize. But as they prepare to take the stage for America's 250th anniversary, new rumors are surfacing about what's happening behind the scenes, and it involves a very awkward reunion that no one saw coming. Section 1. The Aldean Anthem Revisited. Let's talk about Jason Aldean. It's been a few years since Try That in a Small Town nearly broke the internet. And while the mainstream called it a vigilante anthem, his core fan base turned it into a #1 hit. For the 2026 tour, Aldean is leaning even harder into that small-town identity. He's playing the very places the song was written for. But there's a new shock factor this year. Rumors suggest that Aldean has been quietly blacklisted from certain major television platforms, which is exactly why he's partnering with Kid Rock to bypass the traditional media entirely. They aren't asking for permission anymore. They are going directly to the fans. It's a bold move that proves one thing. In 2026, you don't need a record label if you have a movement. Section 2. Kid Rock's D's Nuts campaign. Then there's Kid Rock, the man who literally shot up a stack of beer cans to start one of the biggest boycotts in history. Recently, he's been in a high-profile war of words with California Governor Gavin Newsom, who jokingly claimed Kid Rock was indefinitely suspended from the state. In true Kid Rock fashion, his response was, well, let's just say it involved a very crude reference to D's nuts. This DGAF attitude is exactly why people are flocking to this tour. He's become the face of the uncancelable movement. But while he's fighting with politicians on X, there are reports that his outlaw lifestyle is causing some friction with the more family-friendly sponsors of the tour. Is he the savior of rock and roll, or is he a liability that the tour organizers are struggling to manage? Now, let's get into the hidden drama of the 2026 lineup. For the first time in a long time, both Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert are on the same festival bill. While they aren't scheduled to perform on the same night in every city, the proximity is already causing a stir. Fans are unpacking the schedule to see if their paths will cross in the VIP tents or backstage. It's been years since their high-profile split, but in the small world of country music, things can get awkward fast. Speculation is swirling that there are strict radius clauses in their contracts to ensure they don't have to share a stage. Is this a sign that they've finally moved on, or is the festival playing a dangerous game of celebrity roulette for the sake of ticket sales? Section 4. The Parallel Economy Exposed. What's really happening here is the birth of the parallel economy. Kid Rock, Jason Aldean, and even guys like Aaron Lewis are creating a world where they don't need woke corporate backing. They have their own beer, their own merch, and now their own massive touring circuit. This 2026 run is the ultimate test of that model. But there's a dark side. Critics are revealing that this independence comes with a price, literally. Without major corporate subsidies, the cost is being passed down to the hard-working man. Between the $700 VIP passes and the price-gouged parking, some fans are starting to wonder if the movement is just another way to get into their wallets. Are these artists standing up for the people, or are they just the new corporate giants in a different hat? The end conclusion, the final stand. As we head into the summer of 2026, the uncancelable kings are standing taller than ever. They've proven that you can't off a career if the fans refuse to let go. But with the eyes of the nation on them for the 250th anniversary, every move they make will be scrutinized. Whether you see them as heroes of free speech or villains of the culture war, one thing is certain, they aren't going anywhere. So, are you buying what they're selling, or have you seen enough of this movement to know where it ends? The 2026 tour is about more than just music. It's a statement, and that statement is loud, proud, and completely unapologetic.